And just getting started here for the night, doing my Thursday night stream. And it's one of those games that goes ahead and silences itself when you tab out. So I'm going to try and correct that. Nope, that didn't correct it. Great. Great. Gotta love it. Anyway, as usual, YouTube's giving me issues when I'm trying to adjust the stream settings, so I'm hoping this goes live. Hope it goes public. This is a demo of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. It is a narrative-driven... I want to say RPG. It's under RPG, but hell if I know that it's actually an RPG. It looks really kind of stylistic. Heavily narrative-focused. Don't know if I should do this because my voice has been giving me trouble again. So, we shall see if I'm gonna be able to do this tonight. So we'll see. I don't know whether this. I suspect this is gonna be like a more of like a game book type thing. Maybe I'm not 100% on that though. Call him RPG Brante. Other characters will address you exactly like this. Give you an Iron Man mode to avoid flipping back through things, I think. Consequences of your possible choices in advance. This is a recommended game mode, as you'll be able to direct your character's fate in the way you want. If you do hidden, that actually sounds like better. But I think I'm going to go for open now. I don't know how long these first two chapters are, so you'll have to excuse me if this ends up being short and I switch to something else. I'm also going to be looking at something else going on at the same time, so excuse me for that. So, how people been? I see a couple people starting to file in. I know that I usually don't get a lot of viewers till later on. Alright. I guess I'll have to read this. Before you lies the story of a single man. You will take on the role of Sir Brante and his determination, and determine his goal and fate in life, from his birth to his true death. Our hero is unfortunate enough to be born in a cruel and ruthless world, one that is different from ours in many ways that may not be immediately apparent. This means that you must be ready to learn the ways of this world, one step at a time. Your every decision will affect our hero's personality and family, his friends and foes, and even the outcomes of important events. The decisions that you make will ultimately influence the state of affairs throughout the nation. When given a choice, choose whatever feels right for the world and for yourself. How will you live this life entrusted to your care? Will Sir Brante turn the tide of history, or will he be ground into dust by the millstone of fate? This is for you to decide. And it's going to be a reading-heavy game. It's kind of like Age of Decadence was. Oh man, Let's Playing Age of Decadence was like Let's Playing a damn book. I mean, I liked it, but it was clearly a lot of text narration. And I'm going to be trying to do more streams. I put that poll up, and apparently a fair amount. Well, not. I want to say a fair amount of people, but a decent number of people wanted me to stream on the main channel, which is this channel, rather than my secondary channel. Now, a number of those said stream it on this and then put the VODs up on the secondary one. I'm still kind of getting information on that poll, finding out where people are, and I've got a limited amount of time to work with, so, you know, there's that. Your fingers are stained with ink. Your breathing grows ragged, your hands are shaking, yet the words begin appearing on the page before you one by one, clinging together to form a chronicle of your own life. Who are you, and how did you reach this end? You were born, raised, and lived your entire life in the blessed Archnean Empire. In this land, a man's destiny is predetermined at the moment of his birth, whether human or Archnean, nobleman, priest, or low-born commoner, all bend to the divine will of the twin gods. And each life is not but a single cog in the universe's immeasurable machine. I believe this is like a 18th century fantasy world. So, like early industrial revolution, maybe like late Regency period. We'll see. And hold on, I gotta put a post together here real quick. Alright. The memories came flooding back. They engulf you as a merciless wave, binding together days that are thrice dead and gone. The dreams of your childhood, your adolescence, your youth spent in the capital, years of peace teeming with life, and a war drenched in blood. High ranks and lowly deeds, opulent palaces, secretive city backstreets, fields of battle, and faces. So many faces of the people you hold dear. The people who walk this road by your side. So I guess you're just chronicling this dude's life, and it looks like there's a lot of tabs and interaction, but is this since I'm just entering this? I can't really look at them. Such was your life, now all exposed by ink erupting onto the page. With your every step you sought to change the world as you saw fit. The choices of your upbringing, the path you carved in your youth, the fruits of your struggle, the consequences of your sacrifice. All of it led to here, to the end of your time, and every choice had a price. Now, years and years later, the crossroads of your life echo in your memory, the pain and joy inextricably intermingled. The only problem, I think, with setting something in a particular year at the end of this dude's life is that presupposes that he doesn't actually die during the game. So, that's going to be interesting to see. Could you have taken a different path, chosen a different calling, found a different place in the world? You had the power to alter the very course of history. Now, on the verge of death, you struggle with doubt, seeking answers to the last and most crucial question of all. Your life, of all the paths in life. Why did you walk this one? Did you choose your own fate, or was your life shaped by forces beyond your control? What determines a man's history? So, we get to answer a question. We'll go with, there is no destiny. A higher power, the world around him, or the man himself. We'll go, there is no destiny. It's a random chance. We'll go nihilist. You stand tall and stare death in the face, unflinching. There's no higher power guiding your life. It was just a wild jig, a chaotic tangle of innumerable human wills, actions, and accidents. The only thing that could ever turn this chaos into an orderly narrative is the internal human drive for storytelling. Your life had no great meaning. You were neither cursed nor by fate nor guided by providence, and this is what made you truly free. But are you right about this? Is it all true? To learn the truth, you have to return to the very beginning, remembering every step you took along the way. On these pages, the story of a man named RPG Brante will live once more. So here we go. I guess that you follow this dude's life up to, yeah, it does look like, I believe, 17th century, maybe 18th century. Yeah, it looks like 18th century, more like. Could be either, since this guy lives a long time. 0 years into his childhood. So I guess since this is chapter 1 and 2 in the demo, it's going to be like childhood and adolescence. So we'll see. Hopefully these tabs will become clear over time. There is a settings mode. Alright. Childhood, where life begins. First words, first unsteady steps. You are but a small child learning about the world in which you were born. To you, everything is so new, so baffling, and so unforgiving. A long, trying life stretches before you. So many feats and faults, so many fateful choices to come. Yet you are already sowing the seeds of your future self. You are learning to live and survive in this world, looking for a place within it to call your own, choosing your future destiny. Who will you grow up to be? And I guess this is where I got to pick a choice. A choice. Alright. Important life events that may happen to you in this chapter. The fencing lesson, beyond. Oh, so you can die. And be reborn, apparently. So that's how they get away from the whole, we've set this in a book where we start at the end. Apparently there's some sort of rebirth mechanic. Alright, that works. So let's go onward. How do you go onward here? Your personal qualities at this age, they determine which choices you may take. You got determination, which is... Hold on a second. So this are the choices that you make. Then this is your personality. And of course, he's 0 years old, so he has very little personality right now. Give me one moment. The sound's going to cut out while I check on some volume levels. Alright, there we go. And I believe these are your stats: perception, determination, and willpower. House of Brante, I believe, might represent your family and your... Oh, you've got an heir? Okay, I'm presuming since you're like 0 years old in this, that heir is like 2B. This is your family. RPG Brante, and Stefan Brante is your brother. Your half-brother. Okay. You got adolescence, this unlocks, and youth, this unlocks. Yeah, so these unlock in the future. Alright, so determination is 0, spineless, because you're a little kid. Perception 0, inattentive, because again, you're a little child. Willpower 5, ready for action, because kids are willful, and deaths, untouched by death, just yet. The sections that open this chapter, why are you explaining all of this? Destiny is now available, personality is now available, House of Brante is now available, and family is now available. So the House of Brante, let's take a look at these stats again. It's a tarnished house, so it was once noble. And we will go with wealth, which represents the financial state of your family. You've got Unity 7, peace, which means that they're all together because they're they're not poor, but they're moderately useful and they're barely clinging to some degree of reputation. So let's start the chapter. I mean, this is an interesting way to do an RPG. I mean, it is an RPG. There are stats, but it's also kind of like a game book. At first, there was nothing. No time, no sensation, nothing but darkness and void. But then a will breathed life into nothingness. Matter and spirit were set in motion. History began its march. It was your turn to enter this world, and that is an annoying child's cry. Your first memory, you were lying on your back, blinded by a bright white light. You are not alone. Above you tower the colossal figures of those who created you. You are a part of them, and they are a part of you. Between you and them is an inexplicable connection, a strong, unbreakable link. They will always watch over you, guard you, and protect you. It hurts to breathe. You let out the pain in the form of a desperate scream. Your creators extend their hands towards you. There are two of them, the ones who made your form from their own selves and brought you into this world. They are united, yet as they lean closer, you begin to see how different they are. You can already feel the differences within you, struggling against each other. The first figure is soft and emphatic, wise and merciful. The love that emanates from it wraps you head to toe like an invisible blanket. The warmth from it is never-ending. The second figure is strong and powerful, commanding and noble. It is harsh but fair, a beacon of guidance, a force of protection, and merciless punishment for every misdeed. Yet there's also a third figure. It's like a shadow barely seen behind them, yet already pulsing with an unbreakable will to live. It is the very will to live that is now growing even ever stronger within you. A soft, open palm, a strong closed fist, a lingering, distant shadow. You struggle to loosen the swaddling clothes wrapped around you and extend a tiny hand in the world, and I guess... this is... If I didn't have the open choices thing, that stuff on the side wouldn't show up. But it's useful for now, because it's basically character creation. Okay, so I can get perception if I reach for the father, or for the mother. Determination if I reach for the father, and willpower if I reach for the shadow. So we will reach for... What do these stats mean? Okay. We will go with... I think we'll go with determination. Reaching out to the father. The fist is stiff, coarse, and even unpleasant to the touch, but this firm hand belongs to your father. A tiny newborn, you were helpless before the full-grown man. Your little hand practically challenges him in his strength, and he accepts the challenge. Your father's fist opens up, his hand strokes your little hand gently, if somewhat awkwardly. It is a tender gesture, a glimpse into something he will seldom let show in the years to come. So I'm still spineless, but that's because I'm literally just newborn. And this reminds me to the Fallout 3 character creation where you play that kid. So how will you live it? This is all character creation so far. So you get to be 1 year old. Anything happen? As the days go by, you learn to tell your parents apart. You recognize father by his heavy breath and strong, cold hands. He visits you rarely. Hello there, little Brante. Mother's tender voice, however, follows you day and night. My, you're growing so quickly, my child. There are 2 more children in the family, named Stefan and Gloria. Gloria sings songs to you. She often dresses you in tight clothing and gently holds your hands as you learn to take your first steps. Stefan likes to sweep you up and pinch you and toss you into the air, and Stefan is your half-brother. Oh look, this is your brother and sister. Yeah, you're my little brother. We're gonna play together, but I'll always be in charge because you were born a commoner. Ouch. Be quiet, you. He doesn't understand yet. Come on, baby RPG. Let's go play in the world. It's hot outside. You grip your brother's hand with one hand and your sister's with another as they help you walk down the giant stone stairs. Then you sit on the ground and start exploring the sparse blades of grass with your fingers. It tickles. In the sky, far above and away from you, is a gigantic pillar, a perfectly straight stick made out of light. It is so bright it hurts to look at. Why are you staring at the shining pillar? It's not going anywhere, you know. So I guess this is like just natural to their world. Hey, I want to play hide and seek. He's just a little baby. How's he going to play? Then you hide him, and I'll try to find both of you. That does not sound wise. You have no idea what they are talking about, but you support them with happy cooing. This is strange, but so exciting. Stefan and Gloria glance at each other. Then your brother walks to a big tree, closes his eyes, and starts shouting something. Gloria takes your hand and walks you through the yard. Your sister takes you behind some thick bushes by a tall wall. I'm presuming this is where your first death may come in, because that seems incredibly dangerous. The light from that light stick the light from that light stick on the horizon barely reaches here. You can't see home from this place. The ground is crawling with tiny black bugs. Gloria sits you down on the ground and puts a finger to her mouth for some reason, and then she's gone. You can no longer hear Stefan's voice, and Gloria is nowhere to be seen. You feel colder. The bugs are no fun to play with. You've been sitting here for a long time, completely alone. Nobody checks on you. Did they forget about you? Did they abandon you? Okay, so I can give myself more determination or sit there and wait. I think I'm going to give myself more determination. Just become like this really like determined little kid. Just determination every single time. You get up on your feet, swaying a little bit. Carefully, you take the first step, then lose your balance and plop down on the ground again. But you are determined. You get up again and keep walking in the direction Gloria went. You walk out of the bushes and further towards the wall of the house, and then the most tender and gentle hands in the whole world embrace you and pick you up. Mother has found you. There you are. You lean on Mother's chest and hold onto her with your arms. You want her to know that you came here all by yourself without any help. She pats you on the head. Your brother and sister stand behind her, clearly feeling guilty. Gloria is in tears. Stefan is staring at his feet, but they wrote starting. Editor, where the hell are you? This is a heavily text-based game. You hug Mother tightly. She is here now. So I got active determination. Do you want to go all the way to resolute? I guess it depends on how many options I'm given. Give me one moment while the year changes. The Great Descent, which I'm presuming is like, yeah, that's the next year. Another memory. You're still a little child, but you can already talk. Wait, if this guy's writing from memory, I don't think I would remember anything when I was 1. I mean, I could be wrong. I remember something when I was like 2 or 3, but not when I was 1. God. All right. Another memory. You're still a little child, but you can already talk and run around on your own. Today is out of the ordinary. Father is busy around the house, giving orders to the servants. Throughout the day, the kitchen has been abuzz with work, and there are solemn, gloomy preparations and candles being lit. Even your older brother, Stefan, is quiet today. Mother takes your hand and brings you to your sister, Gloria. My son, today is the great descent, so we honor the day when the twin gods descended to us. We must spend this day in reverence to the gods. You're too young to understand, so just do everything your sister says for now. Gloria takes you to the playroom. There are no toys there, no chairs. Even the carpet has been taken away. There is nothing there but a bare wooden floor. Today we're not allowed to go into any other rooms, and we'll be eating nothing but gruel and stale bread. On the day of the great descent, everyone must be where they belong. It is quiet, unusually so. Muffled voices from beyond the door are all that you can hear. You're sitting on the cold floor, confused, with no idea what to do. Then you hear your sister's voice, a lonely sound in the empty room. It is a little song that Mother taught her. You hold your breath as you listen to it. When the twins came down to earth, they brought lots for every birth. Let us count them. 1, 2, 3. The twins made them for you and me. Nobles rule and bravely fight. They protect us with their might. Priests work hard to understand, guide us by the twins' commands. Common folk work and toil, always patient, never spoiled. Live your lot where you were born, to the day when you pass on. Know your lot and know your prayer, for the twins see everywhere. So this is basically a caste-based society, which is weird because that means that, like, nobility is not determined by family, I guess, because you were born common and your half-brother is born noble. Okay, so Gloria is also your half-sister, rather than your full sister. Interesting. You are transfixed by the tune. Gloria notices your gaze, and a smile creeps across her face. You like the rhyme, don't you? Do you know what it's all about? Look, there are 3 lots. They were brought to us by the twins when they descended to us from the shining pillar. Remember that pillar of light on the horizon? That's it. You can see the shining pillar anytime, from anywhere in the world. Really now, because if it's a pillar, it should only be visible from, like not even one hemisphere. Anyway. If you follow your lot as you live, you'll reach the peak of the pillar, and if you don't, you'll get eternal torment at the foot. You and I are lowborn. Mom is a commoner, too, so the lot for you and me is to suffer and be patient and work hard, understand? The priests and nobles have other lots. The nobles fight and rule over everybody. The priests, well, I'm not really sure what they do, but I guess they talk to the twins and then teach everybody. This sounds like an incredibly unjust society. Gloria stares at you intently. Did you get it, silly? Then she shakes her head and keeps singing the song over and over again. Her voice transfixes you, drawing you in. The room starts to glow like the sky. From the light emerge 2 figures that you have known ever since the moment of your birth. One of them embraces your sister's shoulder, the other stands guard behind her back. You watch this happening before your very eyes, unable to turn away. Gloria is swaying to the song, unaware of what is happening. She sings the final verse once more. Know your lot and know the prayer. You feel compelled by the divine sight to express yourself somehow. You feel words condensing within you from the light, but what will these words be? Yeah, let's do this determination. Boom. Sing it wrong. See what happens. Know your lot and know the prayer. The lots are lies told everywhere. Yes, you shout these words, but you have no idea how they came to you. The shining pair standing behind her back turn to look at you. You can feel their gaze piercing you from top to bottom. When the moment passes, they melt into the dim light coming from the window. Now Gloria is staring at you. You see disappointment in her eyes. That's not the way the song ends. Why did you ruin it? You shrug, quite pleased with your cleverness. Yes, indeed. And if they were like magic creatures, then they know me as their enemy, because screw that. 11:21. You're 3 years old. Now things should start getting a little bit interesting. You're starting to understand more and more of what the adults say. Your family is an unusual one. Your father is a nobleman, but not by birth. His is a title earned through great service, but your mother is a low-born woman, a commoner. Because of this, you were born a commoner, but father says you may yet come into nobility. You learn to read at an early age. Together with mother, you read and learn by heart the many poems about the divine twins, the twin gods who reside upon the shining pillar. Mother calls these poems prayers. Again and again, you try to discern the shapes of the gods in the strips of holy light that shine in the city all day and night, but the light is too blinding to gaze upon. The greatest joy of all is when the stairs are no longer an insurmountable obstacle. Now you can climb and even jump from step to step. Father urges you to be more careful and avoid climbing too high. But even though you keep falling, never stop being curious about the world around you. Your older brother Stefan now spends less and less time playing with Gloria and you. Playing with commoners is beneath a nobleman to be, he says. So Gloria calls him names, and Stefan pulls her pigtails. One fine evening, Father gathers you all into the sitting room with an announcement. You will have another little brother or sister soon. Gloria asks him to bring him home a little sister. Another brother would be too much. Stefan gets frustrated. There are too many little siblings getting in his way already. Soon you'll be an older brother too, and it doesn't matter who the youngest will be, boy or girl, you'll love them the most. When Father comes back from his trips, he reads his adult books aloud to you. You find these stories of wars and generals and rebellions enchanting, and Father approves of your fascination. Study hard, maybe one day you'll become a noble of the mantle and earn your sword, but first you need to grow up. Growing up, the concept is as terrifying as it is alluring. So, don't tell me like the first chapter is going to be nothing but like character creation. Although it is an interesting way to do it. You keep staring at the carpet under your feet. You are both ashamed and proud, and it feels odd. A scratch on your hand stings a little. Stefan is standing next to you, sniffling from pain. Your brother was training in the yard with a wooden sword. You wanted to play with him, but he ended up getting angry and throwing the sword at you. The stick hit you in the shoulder. You picked it up and hit him with it. You see Mother's shoes walking to and fro on the carpet. You do not want to look up. You would rather not see her angry. She is not as gentle to you these days. Why did you hurt Stephen? You stammer out an explanation. He hit you first. You just hit him back. How dare he pester me like that? When I grow up, I'm going to hit you with a real sword. Yeah, I want to see you try. Mother shushes you both and speaks to you again. Her voice is stern, and yet you can still feel her concern for you. Even if Stefan hits you, you cannot hit him back. You are my son, and I was born a commoner. Our lot is to suffer. But your brother was born from a noble father and a noble mother. His sacrament is coming soon, and then he'll rule over the likes of us. If you hurt a noble, you must be punished. That is your lot, and the sooner you learn it, the better off our entire family will be. Now Stefan looks at you in triumph. You look up at Mother in fear, not sure what to do now. Demand an explanation. Perception. Deny your guilt. Well, wait a minute. What's my person? What's my... One more and I get to resolute. But I also kind of want to do some other things, too. So... let's round out the determination real quick. Deny your guilt. You break out of Mother's arms and start screaming. You're innocent, you cry, and if he hits you, you'll hit him back. All fear and shame are gone. You stand up straight and stare defiantly into Mother's eyes. Her expression grows bitter. She catches you by the collar of your shirt and drags you down the stairs. I'm doing this for your own good. Do not defy me. You're born a commoner, my son. Power and will is not your lot. This is Stefan's lot. He'll become a noble soon. Life for you and me is humility and suffering. You have to accept it. Yeah, no. You are flogged in front of your entire family. The pain burns on your skin again and again. You clench your teeth and hold back the tears. This is the only way you can prove that you're your brother's equal. It is the only way you can prove that one day you'll have the right to rule and fight. So I got to the second part of the resolution. Mother mostly stays in her chambers now. With each passing day, she grows heavier and her features get rounder. It gets difficult for her to walk, but she still smiles all the time. One day, she takes your hands and puts them on her big belly, and you feel a movement deep inside her. You will have another brother or sister soon. Gloria takes you on walks to the yard now. You explore the yard together under the evening light of the pillar, and she sings you songs and tells you amazing stories. So this is like more like early 19th century, maybe. I don't know. I'm looking at the arts, like the clothing styles and such. So like maybe late 18th, early 19th. But that house is something else. That house is from a later design. I get this strange feeling that some things were not well considered in the design. Anyway. Hey, do you want to hear a rhyme? I wrote it myself. There's even a bit about you, but don't tell anyone, okay? Writing poems and songs is only for nobles. If Mommy hears about it, I'll get flogged. Remember how you got flogged for hitting Stefan? Our judge is my second father. In the past, I had another. Mother says the twins are great. Our judge is my second father. In the past, I had another. So she knows she's illegitimate. Says we should not fight our fate. Brother loves to jump around. Please don't fall on the ground. See, I wrote a little rhyme. Please don't tell please don't tell them it is mine. But today your sister is nowhere to be seen. She promised to take you to the old pond and show you the red frogs that lived there, but then she vanished. The servants join you in your search. Even Mother leaves her chambers when she hears the commotion. Finally, you find Gloria in the far corner of the garden. She's holding a quill and sheets of paper covered in poetry. Mother becomes angry the moment she sees it. She looks through the poetry and her face grows dark with rage. Gloria is standing before her, wringing her hands and looking for an opportunity to run, but there seems no escape. What is this nonsense? We talked about this. You were told to take care of your little brother. You're absolutely not allowed to entertain yourself with this writing. I can decide that for myself, Mom. Yeah, I think this... if the two become really defiant... I don't know. No, you cannot. It has already been decided by the gods. And he's not a little brother anymore. He doesn't need a nanny. And I need some time alone to think for myself. I'm not hurting anyone. You're a commoner and a future wife. It's time you learned how to properly care for children. Had your disgraceful former father kept me in his house, you could have been born a noble. But that's not our fate, and you are absolutely forbidden forever spoiling paper and wasting ink again. Mother grabs Gloria firmly by the hand and takes you both into the house. The scribbled sheets fly into the fireplace. Gloria sobs violently. You're a bystander to the scene, unsure of how to act. Well, I can't offer to write rhymes with her because my perception's not high enough. I'm not going to complain about her. Because that would just be cold. Alright, so this takes willpower down, comfort your sister, but gives gratitude from Gloria, so we'll comfort her. Mother leaves. The last of your sister's poetry burns away in the fireplace. You walk up to your crying sister and take her by the hand. None of this is her fault, you say. What Mother did is wrong and far too harsh. Gloria sniffles before speaking. But I did leave you all alone. You're not mad at me, really? You nod in reassurance. Gloria embraces you. You're the best little brother in the world. The two of you make a little deal. She promises to tell you when she wants to be alone, and you promise to protect her and her secrets always. That works. And apparently it does not take a lot to adjust things up the scale. Willpower -5. Ready for action. Though my willpower is decreasing, so I gotta do something to boost it soon. Fortunately, it looks like I got a couple more years left in Chapter 1. And yeah, I know this is not the most thrilling of gameplay, but it's an interesting game. It's an interesting game. It's not really super interesting, but it's interesting as for what it is. So give me one moment. Alright, year 122, winter. Mother is in her armchair or knitting woolen jackets, pants, and socks for the little one. The baby will need to be kept warm, she says. Father spends less time at home now. Mother says he's very busy with his important job. He's a judge, after all. One day, you decide to ask Mother about Stefan and Gloria. How come they're brother and sister to you, but not siblings to each other? Well, my dear, I didn't give birth to Stefan, you see. He's the son of another mother, and Gloria is the daughter of another father. Come now, don't knit your brow like that. You'll understand when you're older. How's that even possible? You're all family, aren't you? Several days later, Mother calls Stefan and Gloria into the sitting room. You sneak in after them. At first, Mother gets angry and asks you to leave, but then she relents. You are told to sit still, be quiet, and remember every word you hear. When you enter the temple, bow to the twins, first to the elder on the right, then to the younger on the left. Stefan, you're a nobleman to be, so walk along the side paved with marble where the benches are. Gloria, you walk along the sharp side. When you're there, you must get down on your knees, each on your own side. Stefan, kiss the sword. Gloria, my daughter, they will strike you with a lash. Don't be afraid. Reassign yourself to the suffering it brings. It is the blessing of your lot. Gloria doesn't like the idea of the lash. There's a tense feeling in your chest as well. You are told to remember this. Will the lash strike you too one day? On the next day, they would take your brother and sister to the temple. You run towards them when they finally come back. The back of Gloria's dress is soaked with blood. She's hunched a bit, sobbing quietly. Stefan is putting on airs, acting prouder than ever. Nothing else looks different about them. It's like everything's the same, and yet nothing is the same anymore. Each of them has accepted their lot. Alright, so... Stefan Brante, I'm at -1 with him. Unity -1 from disagreements. And does that conclude the childhood chapter? Your siblings Stefan and Gloria took their first sacrament to the temple. Yeah, I can see why a revolution would brew here. See, now that's... What is this? This is, this style. Is that 18th century? It's like everything's anachronistic. Like, I don't even think it's that late. I think it's earlier than that. You eye the little bundle in your father's arms with curiosity. Behind the many layers of swaddling clothes is your newborn baby brother. Mother is glowing and smiling with joy. Stefan and Gloria are also here, all excited. You promise yourself you're going to be the best big brother in the world. You'll never hit him, oh no. The two of you will play together, and tease Stefan together, and help Mother together, and go on so many adventures together. It feels so strange to be an older brother. Just the other day you were the youngest in the family, but everything is different now. Your parents name your little brother Nathan, and Mother spends day and night by his side, and Nathan cries all the time, day and night. Mother barely gets any sleep. She is so worn out she starts forgetting things. Like today, for instance, she forgot her knitting in the armchair of the sitting room. You'd better bring it back to her as soon as possible. You run to Mother's bedroom. You miss her smile so much. You walk in without saying hello and give her the knitting, but instead of gratitude, you get an ice cold, exhausted stare. Nathan is also there, screaming all the time. Go away. You're bothering me. She spits these words out through her teeth. You look at the bawling newborn. She can't even get a moment of respite. Enough already. When are you going to stop? I just want some peace and quiet. Oh, shaking the baby. Mother leaps across the room and starts shaking Nathan with malice in her eyes. His cries get even louder. She looks so tired from his never-ending screams. She seems to be within an inch of smashing him against the wall. Someone has to do something. You are scared of your mother right now, but you fear for Nathan's life much more. Let's pull this determination over. Mother keeps shaking Nathan violently, and you cannot stay away any longer. He's no longer bawling. He is shrieking. Just leave me alone. But then out comes your voice, so loud it drowns out their cries. No, it's not Mother's fault. No, it's not Nathan's fault, Mother. You're just tired. Please don't do anything to my little brother. If you have to punish someone, punish me instead. He's too young. He won't understand it. Your mother freezes and looks at you, her eyes two narrow slits. Her stare is cold and full of pure wrath. So pure you cannot help but recoil and feel. Are you trying to teach me how to take care of a child? Well, maybe to teach her not to give him freaking brain damage by shaking him. Are you giving me lessons on calming a newborn baby? You're insolent, insipid, nagging know-it-all. It's time you learned your place. She puts Nathan on the bed sheets, then moves towards you. You step back, but a closed door blocks your way. She slaps you across the face. Your ears ring from the heavy blow, and your cheek is burned from her wrath. You wince and close your eyes, expecting a second slap, but nothing comes. Nothing but Mother's heavy breath and Nathan's shrill cries. Then there's a knock at the door. You step aside. Father walks in. He looks at you clutching a reddened cheek, at the bawling baby, at Mother, her eyes red with rage and tears, her breathing ragged and heavy. Go to your room, son. I'll join you soon. You do as you're told. Back in your room, you press your aching cheek against the cold window, hurt and dazed by what just happened. Soon enough, Nathan stops crying. You hear Father's heavy footsteps in the hallway. He comes into your room and sits on the bed next to you. Son, please do not be angry with your mother. The twins know she wishes nobody any harm. This is a difficult time for her, but we will make it through as a family. You stepped up to protect your brother. You acted like a little nobleman today. I'm proud of you. Your mother and Nathan are resting now. How bad does it hurt? Not bad, but your hand still aches to clutch the cheek. Father embraces you with a sorrowful smile and gingerly pats you on the head as you press your forehead into his housecoat. Things grow calm now, the trouble has passed, and you are quietly happy. Yep. Well, determination's going to go up like almost non-stop, I suspect. Your younger brother Nathan is born. Next year. So he's 5 years old. I forgot this kid's like still small. Got the crap smacked out of him. Father's sword. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. What's Father's sword? When Father is not working long hours, you often see him spending long stretches of time in the backyard practicing his fencing. You're allowed to watch, but that is it. You're forbidden from touching the sword, let alone actually learning how to fight with it. It is a new day today, and Father has been busy in his studies since early morning. Mother took Gloria and Nathan to the shops. Your studies are done for the day. The house is empty. You spot Father's sword hanging by the yard door. He must have left it there by accident after a training session. You deliberate at first, then grab the sword with a resolve and run outside. At last, you have a chance to see it up close. It is a small sword used for dueling, heavy and devoid of any ornamentation. You recall that it was made specifically for him. The weapon is difficult to handle. Its heft makes the palm of your hand shake. As you get used to it, you try your best to imitate Father's feints. Your technique leaves much to be desired, but at least it's something. You imagine yourself fighting for the family's honor as a thin blade slices through the air. But you swing too far back. The blade nicks your shoulder and cuts through your shirt, staining the fabric crimson. The sword falls to the ground with a dull clang. You try to apply pressure to the wound to make it stop bleeding, but all you do is make the blood flow faster. What are you doing here? The familiar voice hurts you more than the cut of the sword. Father walks to you briskly. His rugged arms rip off a length of cloth and bandage your shoulder. He squats by your side and pulls you into an awkward embrace. Why did you have to take the sword? You know you're not supposed to hold it. This is no toy. It is a weapon that can take lives. I know how you feel. I used to yearn for my father's dueling sword back when I was a lad. One day you might have a chance to earn the right to carry a weapon, but first you must have the patience and study and become a noble. When that day comes, I will be proud to teach you myself. You rarely spend time with Father without someone else around. There is paternal love in his voice, so much that even the cut on your shoulder barely hurts now. You would gladly be convinced by what he says, but how can you forget your dream? How can you abandon it just to earn Father's approval? Is it right for him to ask so much of you? Alright, so I have just enough to ask him to teach me the basics. Or I can earn his trust a little bit more. Thinking I will agree with him for now. You take a deep breath and slowly and solemnly swear that you will never touch a sword again until you earn a nobleman's title. This promise is a difficult one for you to make. No more secret fights with an imaginary blade. No more battles with sticks. If you give your word, you must keep it. Father smiles at you warmly. It's one thing to make a promise and another thing to keep it, but I know you can do it. You're on your way to becoming a man of your word. Now let's go back inside. He picks up the sword and leads you back into the house. You wash the blood from the cut and agree to keep this a secret from everybody. Then Father asks you to come into a study with him. He tells you stories of his studies in the capital. He tells you about studying for the judgeship and the trials that he had to face to become a noble by the mantle. So he's helping you with maybe, becoming a noble as well. Hold on a moment. I'm going to check something real quick. The music's going to interrupt. Because I want to know what the hell is going on with something. Alright, that's cool. That's cool. You bring several toy soldiers from your room, and Father uses them to reenact the famous Battle of the Green River. The floor of the study becomes a battlefield, and the books from his table turn into riverside hills. You try your best to remember his every word. So, getting war game roots. And I got more willpower back. Yay! You wake up to Father's touch on your shoulder. He is finally back home after a long trip. Today is your special day, the day when you begin your studies. Now teachers will be coming to our home to teach you, and you must do everything that they say. Be diligent in your studies, and you will grow closer to the nobleman's lot. And since you must remember this day, a present is in order. Lydia, get our little schoolboy dressed. I'm taking him to the market district. Stefan wants to come with you too, but Father shushes him sternly. This is your day. Your elder brother is hurt to hear this, but stays quiet. An open carriage takes the two of you through the dusty, noisy city streets, a pleasant wind tussling your hair. Your city is called Anazote? Anazote. That you already know. It is one of the largest cities in the entire empire. There is a big shadow on the street. It comes from the white foliage of an enormous tree that spreads its branches all above the city. My son, did you know that the silver tree grew from the blood of our God's own disciples? It has been growing here for hundreds of years, right in our city. It cannot be damaged or burned, not even the clergy know why. The carriage comes to a halt by a small shop next to a city square. You run there and freeze by the stalls in excitement. The shop is packed with dolls and figurines and toys. You've never seen so many at once before. Have you chosen your present yet? Father asks. You have. You want the Holy Order set, which includes several figurines of the Empire's greatest warriors of all time. It's basically collecting, like, miniature gaming. You rattle off everything you know about the Holy Order. They were the ones who aided the Emperor's own forces in seizing the province of Magra and storming our city. That's how we joined the Empire. Father nods in approval. Very well. War isn't your lot for now, but maybe these toy soldiers will teach you to think like a general. We will lead them into battle and study military strategy. Go ahead, take your present. Having said this, Father turns away to examine the books. You run into the box of toy soldiers, delirious with excitement. But there is a fancy-dressed boy in your way, and he is about to take your warriors for himself. He elbows you aside and reaches for the box. Anger overcomes you, and you push him from behind. Your opponent falls to the floor. The rich boy screams so loudly everyone in the shop hears it. He hit me! He hit me! A tall tower of a man looms over you. This is the boy's father. But then you feel your own father's hands on your shoulders. What happened? You press against Father, your mind more at ease now. He will protect you. Yes, he shoved the boy to the floor in front of everyone, but he tried to take your present for himself. Father turns you around to face him when he hears those words. Is this true? Did you strike the son of a nobleman? Well, we can go with more determination. Or we can boost Robert Brante. We will admit guilt for now, I believe. You recall Mother's words, if you hurt a noble, you must be punished. There is no use to trying to lie to escape it. You say it was your fault. You pushed the other boy to the floor because you wanted to get your present before him. Father nods to you, relieved to hear it, and the enraged nobleman grabs you by the hand and drags you out into the street. The law is the law, and your punishment is due. They lead you and the nobleman's son out to the shop. You are told to bow to him and show humility. A bad feeling sends a shiver down your spine. With a satisfied grin on his face, the boy swings his arm and slaps you on the cheek. He strikes you again and again. Father stays quiet all the while, but as you ride home after the punishment is over, he shows you a rectangular package. I am proud to see you living by your lot. A common birth leads to a life of humility, and you were told the truth and accepted your punishment like a man. This present is yours. Inside is a little box with 10 soldiers of the Holy Orders inside. They are the reward for humility. Alright? So I've got him up to sympathy. And he's got gratitude right now. Okay. Ready for action on willpower. Gotta balance things with, you know, with his family. And alright. Before I get into this, give me a moment. I gotta take a break. Not a huge break, though. Alright. Sorry about that. Alright. Ready for the next part. And yeah, I don't know how long I'm actually going to stream this, because this is a hell of a lot of reading. Alright. Today, Father ordered the dinner table to be brought out into the yard. For the first time in months, he's home, outside of the confines of his always locked study. He spent the entire day playing with Nathan and you, discussing various matters with Stefan, now an adolescent, and walking in the garden, and now at dinner under the open sky. Your entire family gathers together, with Father at the head of the table, smiling. He asks each of you about your studies. Nathan climbs up on his knee and recites a counting rhyme in a funny, sing-song voice. Stefan mentions that his fencing teacher praised his accomplishments. He rises from the table together with Father to show his skills in a practiced duel. Next comes Gloria's turn. She stands on her chair and recites a lengthy prayer by heart. Mother showers your sister with praise. Father chuckles quietly, hiding a smile in his mustache. When your turn comes, you recite all the ranks in the Legion, from common soldier to high commander. Stefan listens to you with a skeptical look on his face. Night slowly falls, but the servants ensure that the yard is well illuminated. You don't feel cold in the dusk tonight. It feels so good, so important. All of you are finally together, sitting at the same table. No fights, just smiles. No arguing, just pleasant small talk. Then a servant approaches Father with a letter in his hand. He reads it in the dim light, and each line washes the smile off of Father's face until only a stone-cold mask remains. Mother looks at Father with an unspoken question in her eyes. Gregor Brante is coming back to Anziote. He is the head of our family, my father. Your grandfather, Gregor Brante, returns to the family home from the capital. Now I get to see what kind of man this dude is. Ever since the news of grandfather's impending arrival, there has not been a single day when the house has not been cleaned or decorated. Your parents anxiously make sure everything is in order. They tell you to wash your face and hands after walks and scold you for leaving books on the floor. They tell Gloria she will be flogged if she is ever seen hiding in the attic. They make Stefan stay in his room. Even baby Nathan gets in trouble. Everyone is on edge. And one day, grandfather arrives. It is a grim day, so hot your neck is sticky with sweat. Father, mother, Stefan, Gloria, you, and Nathan, the entire Brante family, stands on the porch in front of the house. The house servants lined up behind you. The carriage arrives, and out steps a tall, gaunt old man with a heavy walking stick and a heavier gaze. You cringe instinctively. Good health to you, Father. Children, greet your grandfather as you have been taught. Still trying to look like a real nobleman, are you? You can't fool me, Robert. I was the first of the Brante family to be ennobled by the mantle, and I am the only one who remembers how to bear this burden properly. I live honorably by my lot. Your marriage to that low-born wench cut us off from ever becoming nobles of the sword. My progeny could have been born bearing noble blood. Father, I beg you, this is not the place. Grandfather eyes him with scorn and walks into the house, the entire family following close behind him. I have been away far too long. The entire house is a mess. This is an insult. How can you live in such a pigsty, Robert? The servants have grown far too lazy, all thanks to your commoner of a wife. I warned you, did I not? And yet you did as you saw fit. And the children, what do they know of tradition or honor? They are being raised in a virtuous family, Father. And now you're speaking like a lowborn who's content to live in humility? Twins willing. Now that I'm here, this will not happen again. I'm taking your oldest son to the capital. I see you cannot provide Stefan with a proper education, so I'll correct your mistake. Your brother's fate has been decided, just like that. Father does not object. He orders the servants to prepare Stefan for the journey. Stefan freezes in place, glancing at grandfather and father again and again. The latter puts a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. Grandfather's lips are a tight line, white with contempt. The house is examined, room after room. Everything grandfather sees is showered with scorn. He scoffs at the crease in a blanket in Nathan's crib in your mother's bedroom. He mocks Gloria's knitting in her room. The door to your room is next. What is this, Robert? 10 soldiers in your younger son's room? He was born a commoner. I won't have him daydreaming of battle. Grandfather seizes the box containing the 10 warriors of the Holy Order. Your father stays silent. Anger and fear boil within you. This is your big present from the first day of your studies. It means so much to you. But what if he's right? What if you need to prove your right to command the toy soldiers first? Grandfather shakes his head in disapproval and shoves the toy box into the roaring fireplace. If you wait too long, they will melt with the flames. You can get determination +1 and +1 with Gregor Brante by rescuing them. Or you can slap him and die. Look at that. He will just flat out kill you. I think I'm going to rescue them. So he will just flat out kill his own grandkid. You run to the fire and take the box out. The wood is hot to the touch and the edges are burnt. The pain comes slowly. Horrible burns on your hands appear a few moments later. Mother gasps loudly. Then a sudden, heavy blow strikes you on the back. You turn around to see Grandfather towering over you, his walking stick in hand. You stare back at him defiantly. How dare you defy me, whelp? You are a nobody. Furious, Grandfather wrenches the toy box out of your hands and leaves the room. Father follows him immediately, yet he sneaks in a hidden smile for you before he is gone. And yet I get a +1 with him to indifference. And +1 to determination. Yeah, let's do this. I suspect, like, the first few chapters, your stats go up, and then maybe you, like, expend them as time goes on. Soon, Grandfather leaves. Your elder brother Stefan goes with him. From that day on, Father's hired teachers tend to you alone. They bore you with monotonous lectures on writing, counting, and the way of life in the blessed Artnian Empire. You often distract yourself from their instructions by playing with your younger brother Nathan. Your home grows quiet without your elder brother, too quiet. Weeks later, your family receives a letter from Stefan. Grandfather has sent him to a boarding school for nobles, and he is now studying hard in preparation for his service as a nobleman. The rules here are way too strict. You can't even sneeze without a teacher's permission, but I've been studying with my peers. We're learning how to live as nobles in the society of nobles. We're also learning the art of swordplay. That's my favorite part. With Stefan now in the boarding school, Grandfather arrives once more, this time live to live in your home. The only good thing is that he often has urgent business in Eterna, the capital of the Empire, and has to travel there. One day you ask Mother where he lived before. In Eterna, she says, but now his place is here. Each time Grandfather returns, he gives the servants new orders. Your home is now always busy with repairs. The servants are redecorating Grandfather's chambers, including his library and sitting room. Sometimes Father tries to gently talk him out of this. Why subject the house to constant reconstruction? Grandfather's answer is always the same. This home is mine, and I will live as befits a man of the nobility. Okay. Some days, Grandfather stays home, and on those days you try your best to stay out of his sight. But there's no way you can avoid family breakfast. The food is there, but you cannot bring yourself to eat it. Mother's eyes are red and swollen. She's been crying all night again. Grandfather sits at the head of the table where nobody used to sit before. Robert, it's high time your youngest sons underwent their sacraments. Sir Brante, please let them live free of the lot for a while longer. They are but... Shut your mouth. Robert, this wife of yours is impertinent enough to interrupt me. If this ever happens again, she'll be eating her gruel with the servants with the kitchen where she belongs. It is time you considered a real marriage, Robert, one to a woman of the proper station. Gloria drops her fork. The Grandfather shoots her a scathing look. A tear rolls down Mother's cheek. Father does not look away from the plate, his hands clenched into fists. Baroness El Lodar is such a woman. She is a comely widow and a fine match. She is suing for inheritance right now and could use a proper support and a husband. You can keep your lowborn Lydia around if you like. Servant, kept woman, lover, I don't care. I will not do that, Father. I am the head of this family, and the family's standing took a severe blow after you married that commoner. It is unthinkable. How could you give up the memory of the beautiful Amelia Elborn for this lowly woman and that bastard child of hers? But now you have a chance to set things right. Don't disappoint me. Father notes curtly and try not to look in Mother's direction. Father, I wish to see Stefan. If I find your conduct in the Baroness's presence satisfactory enough, then you may see him. She is coming for a visit tomorrow. Be prepared. Grandfather wipes his mouth with his napkin, throws it in his plate, and leaves. Mother's lips move silently. Nobody says a word. Then Father stands up and orders you and the other children back to your rooms. He needs to speak to Mother in private. Father comes to your room before bedtime. He sits on the edge of the bed and adjusts a crease in the woolen blanket. He distances himself from you after Stefan's departure, so you're not used to such attention from him. In the candlelight, you can see his face in the dark. There's a sour expression to it. My son, Baroness Emma El Lodar, will be visiting us tomorrow. Please be polite and treat her with respect. Nathan will do as you want. Will do as you do. I want this dinner to be as immaculate as possible. Don't let me down. On the next day, Mother starts dressing you and Nathan for the coming dinner. You see red all around her eyes. She's been crying, and for a long time. It hurts just to look at her. You and Nathan are dressed in new doublets, your tousled hair brushed into shape. Gloria is told to stay in her room. Father appears wearing his best suit. Mother is in a humble brown dress, looking pale. Grandfather is uncharacteristically contented looking about him. You hear the sound of wheels and hooves against the cobbles in the yard. Then a pair of dainty heels come clacking. The antechamber is completely quiet and still, fearing Grandfather's observing eye. The door opens. You see your guest, a beautiful, dark-haired woman in a dress of elegant deep blue. Father takes the hand of Lady El Lodar and kisses it, showering her in compliments. Grandfather's face is beaming in her presence. No one ever bothers to introduce Mother. Baroness, allow me to introduce you to Robert's sons, RPG and Nathan Brante. Frankly, it's his eldest, Stefan, who deserves the most attention, but currently he is studying in Eterna with the other young noblemen like himself. Like himself. Editor, where are you? It's a text-based game. Get it? Spell check is not a substitute for an editor. It is my hope that his younger sons will also make me proud one day. Grandfather eyes you with a probing look. How will you act in front of the Baroness? Will you accept her right next to your mother, your father's rightful wife? Well, I can greet her with politely, which will boost reputation, drop unity, but give me a bonus with both father and grandfather. Walk away with mother, which would promote unity, but drop reputation. I think that I'm going to be... I'll try and befriend the grandfather. I will greet her politely, yes. You follow father's example and kiss the Baroness's fingers gently. Her laughter fills the antechamber, ringing like chimes. You gallantly offer to lead her to the sitting room. Lady Elodar graciously agrees. Behind your back, you can hear mother sobbing. Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't have hit me. Grandfather and Baroness Elodar engage in small talk over dinner. She tells him of the woes of litigation over her late husband's inheritance, and he advises her like the judge he is. Father is mostly silent, only getting in a word or two. You do your absolute best to behave yourself. After the decorous farewells to Lady Elodar, Father quietly thanks you for your model behavior. The morning after he leaves for Eterna with grandfather to visit Stefan. Mother spends almost an entire day in her bedroom. You cannot bring yourself to speak with her. Father returns from the capital in a quiet rage. You overhear your parents talking. Apparently, grandfather has already poisoned Stefan's mind against him and greeted father with cold hostility. The name of Baroness Elodar is never mentioned in the house again. So, -1 with his mother, but oh well. +1 with his father, bringing it to affection, and +1 with his grandfather, bringing it to indifference. +1 with reputation, -1 with unity. Alright. That's cool. Man, that first chapter of the childhood is longer than I thought, and it's actually decent. This is not a game for streaming and videos, though. This is a game you got to experience. I may not go through the first 2 chapters. I may go through just chapter 1. The Kaleidoscope. Father now checks on your studies often and nitpicks you for sitting or eating or speaking in an incorrect fashion. Once he becomes so annoyed, he says that he wishes Stephen had been the one to stay home instead of you. You never expected to hear those words from your father of all people. Grandfather's trip to the capital took longer than expected. It feels lighter around the house without his presence. You allow yourself a little change of scenery. Instead of your room, you now busy yourself with reading and calculations in the sitting room across from the open door to the yard. Gloria has joined you today. She has already helped you progress through several complex passages in the book. Right now, she seems preoccupied with a strange tube. Aren't you hurt by the way Grandpa treats you, you ask? Gloria just shrugs. Grandfather always says that they should get rid of me. I'm used to it now. He hurts you a lot worse because you're closer to him. I just have to stay out of his way, that's it. She shows you the strange tube she has been holding all day. Look, it's a kaleidoscope. I got it as a gift. Want to see inside? Excited by the idea, you close the book and peer into the tiny hole on one end of the tube. Your eye sees a multitude of intricate patterns. Each turn of the tube reveals a new web of interwoven colors. They mesmerize you. The kaleidoscope turns the fire burning in the fireplace into a cavalry made of flames. You're riding at the front of the fiery horsemen, ready to face the enemy. Grandfather's face emerges from the intersecting lines, and you swing the kaleidoscope like a sword, cutting it in half. Now you look at the blue sky through the window. The patterns are unending, secretive and calm and peaceful, just like Father's smile before Grandfather's invasion. The deep blue eyes gives way to scattering of gold radiating gentle warmth, like Mother's arms. This fleeting beauty, too, soon gives way to a hypnotic new pattern. Again and again you see your family in these interconnecting figures as they come together and break apart. And in the middle of this golden glow you see Gloria's green eyes gazing at you observantly. Your sister left you long ago. The books are abandoned and time slips away unchecked, but you are still busy peering into this kaleidoscope. Order emerges from the chaos before your eyes again and again, but you cannot preserve it no matter how you try. You're caught in an inner conflict. There's so much that can be done with this kaleidoscope. Should you take it apart or ask Gloria how it works, or keep enjoying the patterns it shows you? But you still have lessons to do today. I don't have enough willpower to do anything. Do I? I don't have enough willpower. So I guess I could keep looking at it and it'll give me more willpower. You continue peering into the ever-changing patterns that the kaleidoscope offers you. They become truly interesting when you point at the shining pillar gleaming in the sky. In your mind's eye, one battle follows another, filling your ears with clanging steel and the neighing of horses. You are leading the Imperial Army now. Everyone is so proud of you. Grandfather says you are better than Stefan, and Father's stern voice cuts your daydreams short. You lost all track of time. It is evening now. How did you get your hands on this toy? Why aren't you studying? Give it to me. You'll have double the lessons tomorrow. All right. Well, that was a useful interlude. Oh my god, this is all in 1 year. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I will continue. I will continue. All right, back to the next one. So let me take a look at this real quick. I'm still in chapter 1. I avoided the one death, which is good. This kid is what? Looks like he's 6 years old when all of this is happening. Wow, okay. Grandfather's visits are no longer a cause for fear and panic in the house. He has become something you're used to, something nagging yet not unordinary, like a splinter or a stain in your trousers. The tension still remains, however. Grandfather's disdain for everyone in the house is so palpable it almost stings for real. Your lessons with a tutor are done for the day. You walk down the stairs when you spot Gloria peeping into the sitting room through a slightly open door. You sneak up on your sister and tap her lightly on the shoulder. She is startled. Oh, it's you. Look, Grandpa's eating something. Grandfather is sitting on the sofa, flipping through a book with one hand and reaching for a glass bowl with another now and then. Inside the bowl you see candied fruit, a sweet confectionery forbidden to the common estate, like all sweet things. Yet Grandfather's face shows no pleasure as he keeps consuming the high-born treats. The clock strikes 3. Grandfather rises from his seat, puts away the bowl on a shelf, then leaves for the yard. He always takes a walk in the city at this time. So I guess you're going to steal his candies. Okay. Gloria nudges you with her elbow and looks at the candy bowl when you look at her. The first emotion... there's a train. The first emotion you feel is fear, but next comes curiosity, and it is stronger. Stefan used to boast that candied fruit tastes incredible, and you now have the perfect opportunity to try it. You try a candied fruit first. The sugar starts to melt as soon as you put it on your tongue. It's so sweet. You had never eaten anything as good as this. You take the whole bowl off the shelf and give it to your sister. She takes the fruit and brings it to her mouth carefully like a rare treasure. There's a thumping on the stairs, footsteps accompanied by the knocking of a walking stick. You have no idea why, but Grandfather is back. You quickly hide behind the sofa and pull Gloria after you, but she is frozen in place with a bowl in her hands. The door opens. Grandfather's menacing figure advances on Gloria. His hand seeks her arm. You squalid, ungrateful, low-born child. How dare you bite the hand that feeds you? You and your trollop of a mother would be sleeping in a ditch if it weren't for my spineless son. The sweet and pleasant things in life are for the noble estate, not for the likes of you. Did you forget your lot? His hand swings and hits Gloria on the cheek. She falls to the floor right next to where you are hidden. Her fingers glisten with warm, melted sugar that brought you here. Grandfather advances again, his walking stick ready, but then he sees you're huddling behind the armchair. Please don't hurt him, Sir Brante. This is all my fault. He tried to stop me. You can already see a bruise on Gloria's cheek. This is only the beginning of her punishment. Gloria was caught red-handed, unlike you. You can still avoid your punishment. What is it then, Milksop? Did you try the sugar too, or were you trying to stop this piece of filth like she says? If I tell the truth, I will get plus relation with him, as well as perception. I will tell the truth. Give me some of that sweet perception that I don't have yet. You stand up and tell the truth, even though it takes a lot of effort to do it. You actually ate the candied fruit, but Gloria only touched it. You hope this will help your sister avoid punishment. You are quickly proven wrong. Grandfather's face is red with rage. He strikes you both with his walking stick, blow for blow. He keeps hitting you until he grows tired. He then leaves you where you're at. Soon enough, Mother comes in to find the two of you on the floor, too afraid to move. She shakes her head in disappointment. You're badly hurt and covered in bruises, yet she still forces you to kneel and recite the precepts of the lot and how important it is to follow them, which is how you brainwash people. Then you stand before Father and Grandfather and swear never to take things that do not belong to you again. Yeah, if you ever get into an organization that constantly has you, like, repeat the same thing over and over again, guess what? That's not a good thing. Well, for the most part. Okay. Relations +1. It gives them to sympathy. And +1 perception. The Sacrament. Father and Mother have been focusing on Nathan and you since early morning. Instead of breakfast, you are told to say your prayers, wash your hands and faces, and get dressed in plain white shirts. Today is the day of your sacrament. Mother, I want to go play in the yard. No playing today. You and RPG are big boys now. It's time for you both to have your first sacrament. No one can live without a lot. I don't want a lot. Be quiet and listen. You were born commoners, so you must accept a low-born lot before the twins. When you grow up, you will get a chance to earn a noble lot. Father and Mother take you to the carriage. Nathan is hungry. He starts whining. Grandfather is the last to get into the carriage. His eyes are on you, on your brother, looking for every fault. Soon the carriage is moving along the streets of Anizote. Slowly and solemnly. One more turn, and you see the colossal white building marked by two massive pillars. For the first time in your life, you are to enter the Church of the Twin Gods. Yeah, I guess you didn't see your brother and your sister's one. You enter the gate and walk under the splendorous dome of the church. So, let me get this straight. These guys, from the age of 7, their entire life is decided for them. You enter the gate and walk under the splendorous dome of the church. The church hall is divided into two halves. They are drastically different from one another. The floor on the one side is rough and jagged and covered in dried brown spots, while the floor on the other is made of smooth marble. The commoners kneel on the jagged floor, and the well-dressed nobles and their families sit on pews. Father and Grandfather leave you to sit on one of the nobles' pews. Mother walks to the rough stone of the commoner's side and gets down on her knees. You see her wince in pain, for the low-born estate shall suffer in the house of the faith. The church acolytes surround you and lead you to the altar where you and the other children will take your sacrament this day. Before you stands a tall priest dressed in black with a sword in one hand and a hefty whip in the other. Nathan's whining grows louder. He dislikes this place. He is scared. You remain quiet, but your stomach roils in uneasy anticipation. The first child to take the sacrament is a jaunty little boy from a family of nobles. The priest extends the sword before him and recites the words of the lot. From this day forth he will fight and rule and pursue the arts, his mind now forever free from the throes of suffering. Free now belongs to the noble lot. The boy proudly touches the flat of the blade with his lips. Nathan is next to receive the sacrament. He suddenly snaps out of his fearful trance and tries to break free, but the acolyte pulls him towards the altar and throws him on the jagged floor on the lowborn side. The sharp edges bite into Nathan's knees as he lands, spraying drops of red around him. I don't wanna. Why do they have to whip me? What did I do? Apparently you were born into an extremely unjust theocratic society. You try to break free and run to Nathan's side. You want to give him courage and protect him, but the acolyte's grip on you is too firm. You feel utterly helpless. Your little brother has to face the world all by himself. The priest starts reciting the words of the lot, and he swings a lash over Nathan's shoulders. From this day forth, Nathan, thou shalt endure and work and suffer. Thou shalt be ardent in thy labor and humble in obedience to thy rulers. And now cometh thy first true suffering, which thou must accept with gratitude. The lash cracks. It strikes his right shoulder. It strikes his left shoulder. The blows are so powerful that Nathan falls to the floor. The priest tells him to rise. He has received his lot. Nathan gets to his feet and drags himself towards his mother, his knees torn and bloodied, his spirit broken. It is your turn. Your feet will not move. You can muster You can barely muster enough strength to walk to the altar. You get down on your knees to feel the sharp stones below, so sharp your clothing cannot protect you. Your skin begins to burn. The acolyte forces your head down, and you feel the lash drawn above you, ready to strike. The priest's words are for you now. This is thy sacrament. Thou shalt work and endure and suffer. Thou art to receive the first true suffering of the sacred lash. Thou accept thy lot. Let's see. This gives you... This takes willpower. This gives you less determination, but plus perception. If you catch the lash, that gives you minus perception and plus in endurance. Wait. How do you kiss the sword? That gives you minus 10 willpower. It gives you a nobleman's sacrament and a +1 with Gregor Brante. Yes, I'm going to defy it, and I'm going to kiss the sword. I got that. So, like, in the middle of this thing, this dude's raising the lash, you grab the sword and you kiss it, and you take the sacrament. That's actually, you take the other sacrament. The whip slices through the air, about to strike, but your eyes are transfixed by the blade the priest holds in his other hand. You jump up and away. The lash misses you. You grab the sword with your hands. It cuts into them without mercy. The priest wrenches it away from your bloodied fingers. You look him straight in the eye. I am RPG of the House Brante. The priest freezes in shock. You seize the moment and pull the sword closer and kiss the smooth, cold blade. You hear cries of outrage amongst the churchgoers. Mother prostrates herself on the jagged floor, racked with fear. Father remains still, baffled by what you have just done, but grandfather looks at you intently, as though truly seeing you for the first time. There is a semblance of respect in his gaze. You are forced back to the commoner's place at the altar. The acolyte seize you by the arms and legs and keep your face bent to the bloody, jagged stones of the floor. The lash strikes your right shoulder, then your left shoulder, then you are told to rise. You are a commoner. Mother takes your hand and leads you outside the church. Once you're outside, she scolds you for being insubordinate and bringing shame to your family. Nathan holds your hand as you walk, his tearful face a mixture of confusion and awe as he looks into your eyes. But you do not feel as though you've made a mistake. Well, you did what was right, so I get +1 from Sir Brante. I'm exhausted now. The sacrament. I received the commoner's lot, but I tried to grab the other one. By a technicality, I should have it. All right, Nobleman's Sacrament event happened. You challenge a sacred order and attempt to seize a noble lot. Yeah. The mark left on you by the sacrament takes a long, long time to heal. Mother says it is a reminder of your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Gloria shows you the mark of the lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. You are a commoner now. This is the lot you were born into, but Father keeps telling you to study hard, that you may yet earn a different lot and become a noble of the mantle. You recall the past with warm sadness, when Stefan still lived with you, or when he wrote to you for a time shortly after he left. Now he thinks it beneath him to write to the commoners in his family. Mother didn't lock herself in the bedroom as often back then. This changed shortly before Nathan was born. But most importantly, you missed the time before the terrifying figure of your grandfather was constantly looming over you. You learned the true power of the lot only after the head of the family's arrival. In grandfather's eyes, no commoner deserves to be treated with kindness. Is this just him, or is this the way of the entire world? The very thought makes you queasy. You are older now. And what's more, you are an elder brother now. You've learned how to care about someone else, how to teach and protect. Soon you are a small boy no longer. As the days pass, play gradually gives way to laborious study. Now your choices will decide your place in the bizarre and ruthless world of adulthood. Your childhood years are over. And this enters Chapter 2. This gives you your roundup of what's in there. The important life events. Personality qualities. He is resolute, but somewhat inattentive. I need to get some more perception. Willpower -5, exhausted, but as yet untouched by death. But I'm not going to continue this, because this is a game that really should be experienced. I have put a link for those who are watching this in the description for where you can pick this up on Steam. This is the demo. The whole game will have the whole slew of chapters. And as you go through, you can pick different things, guide your stats different ways, and I guess choose your way through life. It looks like this will involve a revolution at some point, which I'm not surprised, judging on the society in question. So I guess you get to shape up to either be part of that or to avoid it and just live your life quietly. Interesting game. Anyway, for now, this has been the RPG Crawler. Thank you for watching me. Those who watched me, thank you for watching me. Those who watch this at a later date. Until next time, take care and goodbye.